Hi, I'm Steve from the Shoebill Studio, and this is a review of Zombicide Timecrash, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle IP crossover with Zombicide White Death.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a nutshell, turtle power.
This expansion really has turned out to be a lot of fun with a lot of really good systems in place that I can really enjoy and sink my teeth into. And if you haven't seen my Eternal Empire review, check that out right here because it'll give you a little bit more context as to why I think this expansion works so well. And the first thing is the obvious bit, which is the IP is intact. All your favorite characters are here. You've got Leonardo, you've got Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, Master Splinter, April O'Neil, and then of course Casey Jones. And there's a lot of personality here. The attitude and sort of vibe of each character is also reflected as best as possible in the skill choice that the designers have made. For example, Mikey is just sort of like a melee nutcase that can AoE packs down. And then of course, everybody's, at least my favorite, maybe not everybody's favorite, you've got Raph. And Raph is a brooding high damage dealer that is quite defensive when he has to be. Each Turtle Team survivor comes with their iconic weapon that can be upgraded by acquiring the pizza slices that are found as special objectives on the map. All right, so all of our favorite turtles are here. We've got Master Splinter. Let's talk about some new mechanics that are fantastic. Starter weapons and survivors from Timecrash don't have chi skills or chi abilities on their cards, and instead, there's now something called Turtle Power, which is a chi power that's always available that you can think of sort of as another blue level ability that you have right from the jump. You pay 1 chi right before a combat action, and then you do one of the following things. Make a 1 damage attack 2 damage, you can add 2 dice to a combat action, or you can add +1 to all of your dice rolls in 1 combat action. If you've watched my Eternal Empire review, you'll know that I dislike the costliness of the survivor chi skills, and this fixes that problem entirely. I think in that video I mentioned that I wish that the chi skills were more along the lines of like a pumpable effect, like fire breathing from Magic the Gathering or something like this, that would buff actions that are already in play or that you're planning on doing. And this is it. Like, this turtle power thing is 100% that. I love it. So now the chi that you spend on this buff isn't attached to activating the action in the first place, making the skill a lot more flexible for when you're totally out of chi. And it sort of is like an effective doubling down on what chi, in my opinion, did really well in Eternal Empire, which is weapon abilities. So the turtle powers are just basically weapon abilities that you can use on every single weapon that you pick up. And this is really all you're focused on in this new chi system, is buffing your weapons. To combat the mix of turtle power and the fast-paced vault weapon meta and like this character-specific upgradable starter weapons, there's now a new break mechanism that destroys equipment that rolls a 1 during use. And this doesn't apply to the starter weapons, but it does apply to vault weapons and any weapon that you grab from the equipment deck, unless you power that weapon's use with chi. Remember that you can only use chi once per turn, so basically, if you're trying to spam a vault weapon, there's a really high risk that you're going to break that vault weapon. And this incentivizes experimentation with sort of matchups between vault weapons and particular starting weapons from the turtle team, and encourages you to sort of figure out what your favorite combos are and get that, you know, setup that affords you like a super powered chi attack and also a bunch of slightly less powerful attacks that you can make safely. And this is also without burdening you with having to search all of the time. Another great thing about this is now some of the skills that characters can spec into just buff turtle power. Splinter's got one where he gets to pick 2 of the 3 options, so effectively giving him double turtle power, even though he's a rat. This ability to sort of like flex the turtle power to another level of intensity is a lot of fun, and it makes the chi aspect of this expansion feel even better than the chi aspect of Eternal Empire. Timecrash delivers on almost every front, and one front that they really excel in are the zombies, as well as the new Necromancer Shredder. Let's talk about Shredder first. Shredder, so he's basically the Defiler Necromancer that comes in the core set, except he's got this incredible counter mechanism, where if you attack Shredder or anybody in his space and you miss, he gets a counter hit on you and just starts punishing you with wounds. So for example, if you think you're gonna get in there with your Blizzard 6 dice roll cheeky nonsense and you're gonna drop a bunch of ice on Shredder's head, likely he is going to clap back with a fistful of blades and put you down on the ground. He's really just a fantastic Necromancer that gives you a little bit more variety from the standard Defiler and makes you have to go in and fight him with somebody that specializes in accuracy. So this is where Donatello could shine, with these weapons that don't roll a ton of dice, but almost never miss. And when you compound that with the turtle power skills that they have, you can all of a sudden be rolling 3 to 5 dice powered up with a, hey, you only have to roll a 2 or above to get a hit. It's hard to miss. So it's a fantastic design that dovetails with the mechanics that the survivors have, and it gets you having to play against Shredder in the ways that the Turtle team actually excel. And so these interactions really kind of make it so that if you want, you could sort of have Shredder be your hard mode Necro, even in just the core set. You know, throw him in with the original Defiler and play multi-Necro for like tons and tons of corruption. Corruption hard mode, corruption in every village, corruption in every home, and then all of a sudden you've run out of brutes and your abominations are just like consistently moving 3 times a turn. Might sound like a terrible nightmare, but it might be fun for a lot of people as well. So Shredder adds a ton of variability. But the best and maybe my favorite part of this expansion are the foot ninjas. They block chi use in their space and they spawn at objectives, which creates like this fractured map state that doesn't let you zerg the objectives like effectively, but also puts pressure on you to collect them faster because they're like mini spawn points until they're interacted with. The reason that this is important is because, again, it keeps the game from being a total face roll. You can't just expect to push into a space on the map where you don't think that there are spawns nearby and expect to not see baddies pop out of nowhere, because now the objectives that you're trying to get to spawn actually kind of pretty difficult baddies in and of themselves. So foot ninjas are a chef's kiss inclusion in this expansion. Just fantastic, fantastic new mechanic. So the biggest positive regarding this expansion for me is that it extends the lifespan of my Eternal Empire campaigns significantly. And the inclusion of Warden Brutes on the map when you've got foot ninjas makes an incredible combo. The Warden Brutes require you to use chi-enabled skills to defeat zombies, which means that foot ninjas are effectively immortal when there is a Warden Brute on the board. But it adds another layer of complexity to the decision making, where you start to have to get creative with the order in which your characters go, because you have to take those wardens out in order to take the ninjas out at all. But this expansion dovetails with this perfectly and gives you these amazing characters that are just begging to be played in the high-octane fuel bath that is Eternal Empire. So those are my positive comments. Let's get to the stuff that I don't think works well here. And I have one real large criticism of Timecrash as an expansion, and that is the quests are honestly bad. They feel like half-baked. They often feel cheesable, like they weren't tested. The zombie deck obviously has a lot to do with everybody's experience. You know, if you don't get a difficult draw and you're able to just zerg objectives and you never see a foot ninja pop out of that deck, well, okay, you know, but if it happens 5 times in a row, did they really test the maps? And there are some really cool ideas, actually. Like there's this whole world shift mechanic that they added where you stack different tiles on one another, and as you reveal objectives, the tiles shift from the New York City tiles to the Winter Guard tiles. And that's a really neat thing. But the good news is that I don't care. This is not a big deal. Like, honestly, this expansion's value and usefulness is in its ability to make my Eternal Empire playthroughs way more enjoyable and fun. Like I've already said, with Shredder and the Foot Ninjas, and also I can't wait to bring the Turtles into that campaign and play them there. But one real nitpicky thing that's not really probably very fair, and you know, is like a logistics issue, and nobody actually made this decision other than like, hey, we can't ship things that way. But when so many skills are unique to a particular expansion, it's probably time to make a single glossary. because I had 3 different, manuals on my lap at different times trying to understand, oh, well, what does this skill do? Or where is this rule or whatever? And, that was pretty annoying, in addition to the fact that, like, no matter what, you're going to be split between 2 books and 2 boxes, because you do require the tiles from the core set, the zombies, and a bunch of the other like play pieces to play Timecrash in the first place. So Timecrash doesn't really deliver a tightly balanced set of missions, but that's not really what makes it valuable. What you get instead is a fantastic set of survivors, an updated cheese system that actually feels fun to use, and some fantastic zombie mechanics that genuinely change the rhythm of play. For me, this expansion lives in Eternal Empire. It makes that system better, deeper, and more replayable. And if you like homebrewing or tinkering with mechanics, this box opens up a ton of possibilities. And mostly that's because the turtle power mechanic, I think, really could just be a universal chi power mechanic that's applicable to any hero from any set. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out zombicidefans.com or one of the many Facebook groups out there for Zombicide, or even Simon's Zomba Friday archives, because there's so much great content being created by community members, it's honestly mind-blowing. So that's it for my review of Timecrash. If you liked the video, remember to crush the button of likes and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Maybe you've got a video idea or 2 you'd like me to do. Tell me in the comments below. I'm very open to hearing what you guys have to say. I'd also love to know how you are using Timecrash. Are you playing it on its own? Are you folding it into Eternal Empire like I am? Let me know what builds or team comps you're enjoying so I can check them out. And if you like this video, you should definitely check out my other White Death videos where we review the core set as well as the Eternal Empire expansion. I also made a full buyer's guide for the all-in Kickstarter pledge that goes through every box, what's in it, talks a little bit about some of the mechanics that you'll get access to based on what you purchase. That way you can know, what parts of the Kickstarter are more your cup of tea and which ones are not. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.